الله تعالى وبركاته. بسم الله الذي لا إله سواه، الواحد الفرد الصمد، الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد، الأول الآخر الظاهر الباطن، الولي الحميد، البر الرحيم، اللطيف الخبير، الهادي إلى صراط مستقيم، مقلب القلوب، مصرف القلوب، منير القلوب، والصلاة والسلام على نبيه وخليله وحبيبه محمد الطيب الطاهر الصادق الأمين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، القلب النير المنير المبعوث إلى الإنس والجن أجمعين، وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته الصالحين الغر الميامين، ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اجعلنا منهم آمين. Inshallah ta'ala, I would like, in these brief moments we've had from yesterday and today, to continue where we left off last night, when, if you recall, we spoke of the importance of connecting and orienting our qulub, our hearts, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we spoke of the acts of liberating our hearts, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires from us, and as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam requires from us and guides us towards. And then when we closed with a beautiful and powerful saying of that beautiful master, scholar, saint, the sultan of the saints, Sayyidi Muhammad, Sayyidi Abdul Qadir al-Jilani rahimahullah ta'ala. And remember that beautiful saying of Mali araka inni araka fi qiyamin wa qu'udin wa ruku'in wa sujudin wa saharin wa ta'abin wa qalbuka la yabrahu min makanih ولا يخرج من بيت وجوده ولا يتحول عن عادته. He said, rahimahullah ta'ala, why am I seeing you standing and sitting, that is in acts that externally are righteous, of ibadat and so on, and I see you in kneeling, in ruku' and in sujood, in laying yourself prostrate, and I see you spending sleepless nights and undergoing hardships, and yet your qalb, my qalb, your qalb is yet to move from its place, and it is yet to exit from the space of its own awareness, of its own being, the awareness of I and me and I am, whether I express it externally or I harbor it internally. وَلَا تَتَحَوَّلُ عَنْ عَادَتِكَ. And I see that you do not, your heart does not move, does not change from its habits. The emotions I used to feel and I used to have, that I built by tradition or culture or upbringing or my past history or my environment, those habits, my tiba', my qalb did not change from that. And remember, I mentioned that would be equivalent to something like someone running and running and running and running, but on a treadmill. And thus ending up ultimately going nowhere, though he or she sweated, he or she felt tired, he or she worked out, but ultimately sometime might have a heart attack and die on the treadmill and has gone nowhere. So he says to us, rahimahullah ta'ala, why? And he's addressing us, Muslims. He's addressing scholars. He's addressing those who invite to Allah Azza wa Jal also dua. He's addressing lay people as well of all levels of the spectrum of society. Rahimahullah ta'ala. And then he said, remember, usduq fi talabi mawlak. The same time, he's pointing out to the symptom, to the illness, and to the beginning of the cure. Usduq fi talabi mawlak. Be sincerely truthful in seeking your Lord. First of all, in other words, seek him. Search for him. Orient your mind, your hopes, your aspirations, your drives, your likes, your dislikes, your plans, your future, your emotions. Reorient them towards him. اطلبه عز وجل. Oftentimes our orientations are not towards him subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are towards the created realm. Reorient. Every time I and you should spend quality time daily reorienting. أصدق في طلب مولاك. And أصدق في ذلك. And be truthful and sincere in that reorientation and in that desire and in that desire to change. In that desire to find the divine in you. To connect to the divine, be truthful, be sincere. And sincerity is not a statement of the tongue or an expression of the senses. It is a reality buried inside of me and you. It is about the qalb. أصدق في طلب مولاك. Says here, rahimahullah ta'ala, وقد أغناك عن الكثير من التعب. If you do that, then much of your work that otherwise was not fruitful will become fruitful. And less work and less hardship will be fruitful. أصدق في طلب مولاك وقد أغناك عن الكثير من التعب. Because I lack that sidq, that tawajjuh. Because I lack it, my efforts are not fruitful the way he loves subhanahu wa ta'ala. And my efforts are not fruitful in me experiencing him subhanahu wa ta'ala in my life and knowing experientially that he's nearer to me than my jugular vein. Knowing experientially that he is nearer to me than my jugular vein. And he says, rahimahullah ta'ala, and break away from the egg by like a bird inside the egg, a fledgling inside the egg. And we are fledglings. We are without wings. We are without strength in our knowledge of the divine, in our awareness of the divine. We are fledglings. If you want to know him, if you want to see him, first of all, grow from a fledgling to a full bird. And a fledgling is in the egg, and the egg is contained. And containment means jail, and it means restriction, and it means I don't know. And what holds me in the egg? He says, rahimahullah ta'ala, unqur baydata wujudika biminqari sidqik. and break with the beak of your صدق, أي صدقك في الطلب, of your truthfulness and sincere truthfulness. That's the beak. Break the egg. Get out of the egg of your awareness of you. Me, mine, my, I. Break of that. And you know what helps? Sincerity in truthfulness. الصدق. He says, rahimahullah ta'ala. Without sidq fi talab, first of all, without sidq in seeking Him Azza wa Jal, I have not even begun, despite my efforts like the one running on a treadmill. أصدق في طلب مولاك. And I mentioned last night, صدق الطلب له عز وجل مع صدق الطلب منه عز وجل. And let us also develop that sincerity and truthful sincerity in asking from Him. I am a fledgling, Ya Allah, help me be a bird who flies with full wings. Help me. I cannot get to Him without Him. My efforts are necessary, but not sufficient. Let me not be arrogant and deluded and self-conceited and overly reliant and obsessed by my means and my abilities, and my capacities and my intelligence and even my religiosity. Let me ask Him, Azza wa Jal. Allahumma inni dha'ifun faqawwi fi ridaka dha'fi. Ya Allah, I am weak, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us. Ya Allah, I am weak. Please change my weakness into strength in You, in seeking You, in Your satisfaction, in what pleases You. Change my strength, my weakness into strength in that way. I don't want strength for the sake of strength. I want strength that makes me strong in You, for You, so that I can experience You, Your beauty, Your majesty inside of me. اللهم إني ضعيف فقو في رضاك ضعفي وخذ إلى الخير بناصيتي. And take me to virtue from my forelock. In other words, despite me, despite my weaknesses that I confess to You, and some of which I don't know, and some of which because of my delusion, my ghurur, or my arrogance, my kibr, I conceal those. I don't want to confess of those. I don't want to acknowledge those. Ya Allah, even those, don't entrust me to those. Take me, despite me, to You. Free me, liberate me, despite the yokes and the chains in me to other than You. Help me break. خذ, and take me from my forelock to You. خذ إلى الخير بناصيتي, and so on. اللهم ارزق نفسي تقواها وزكيها أنت خير من زكاها. Oh Allah, please grant my nafs its tazkiyah, its taqwa. Grant my nafs its level the level that You love, of awareness of You, of consciousness of You. I don't know how to do that. I don't have that. Well, it begins here. صدق الطلب له ومنه عز وجل. It begins here. Truthfulness and sincerity in seeking Him and in seeking from Him, in seeking Him. Azza wa Jal. اللهم ارزق نفسي تقواها وزكيها. And cleanse me, purge me, purify me, make me beautiful. Make me beautiful. ارزق نفسي تقواها وزكيها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. الدعاء صدق الطلب منه عز وجل. صدق الطلب منه عز وجل. This is where it begins. And if I am unable even to raise my hands and both my hands in humility and humbleness in a moment of solitude alone at night or during the day, and I should have those moments of solitude alone during the day or the night, if I'm unable even to do that and raise my hands and ask, then I'm truly bankrupt. What else can I not do if I cannot raise my hands and ask him? That's where it begins. أصدق في طلب مولاك انقر بيضة وجودك بمنقار صدقك. And then you come out of the egg and you find yourself in another contained structure, in another attachment inside of me, in you, and that attachment is to the makhluqat of all kinds, human beings, jinns, means, material means, psychological means, social means, economic means, political means, military means, all created. God created cause, God created the effect, God created the relationship between cause and effect. All are his creation, Azza wa Jal. And I find myself then in the next jail, but it is a bigger jail, surrounded by walls. The walls are رؤيتي للخلق. وانقض حيطان وانقض, he says, حيطان رؤيتك للخلق بمعاول الإخلاص والتوحيد. And then demolish the walls around you of your awareness of the created things by the shovels of ikhlas and tawheed. Tawheed. La ilaha illallah wijdanan, wijdanan. There is no God but God. Empty. Empty first. تخلى ثم تحلى. Empty first. Struggle to empty. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. There is no one worthy of worshipping with love, with hubb, except Allah Azza wa Jal. There is no one. No one. There is nothing. You empty your qalb from the presence and existence of anything. For nothing exists in reality except He Azza wa Jal, and by His existence Azza wa Jal. And by His act of creation, existence begins. Nothing has existence per se. Nothing exists on its own account. And therefore nothing has worth on its own account except the worth that He Azza wa Jal instilled and created out of munificence in the creation. La ilaha. There is nothing, there is no divine, there is no deity worthy of any attachment except Allah Azza wa Jal. This will enable me, says rahimahullah ta'ala, to disengage and to liberate my qalb from the yokes and the chains of attachments I have to any and all created things. And that is not to mean to despise those or to demean those. No, it simply means that I look at them the way they really are. I look at me the way I really am, for everything is created and every benefit and every harm is but a consequence of God subhanahu wa ta'ala unleashing the created realm in positive ways or in what I perceive as negative ways. So, demolish the walls around with the shovels. Shovel away from my heart the stain of attachments and connections and feelings and deep emotions that I have at the expense, independent of my attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Liberate yourself. And then when you do that, then, oh, not yet. You find yourself, he says, rahimahullah ta'ala, in another prison. Now you have broken from a greater prison. You are in a smaller prison, but it is constricting, but a smaller prison. Qafas. And he says, rahimahullah ta'ala, وَأَكْسِرْ قَفَصَ طَلَبِكَ لِلْأَشْيَاءِ بِيَدِ زُهْدِكَ فِيهَا. And then break the bars of the jail in which you are. And what jail is that? طَلَبُكَ لِلْأَشْيَاءِ. My desire and my seeking and my pursuit for the created toys of this world. The one who dies with most toys is a winner. I read one time on a bumper sticker of a car. Subhanallah, he said, in his bumper sticker, the person had this: the one who dies with most toys is the winner. Subhanallah, subhanallah. And that depicts it. That's his or her philosophy of life. The one who dies with most toys is the winner. And adults have toys, and children have toys, and we all have toys and seek toys. But to our children we say toys, and to ourselves we call them differently. We use sophisticated terminology not to remind ourselves of the true reality of what we are doing by calling them something else. Needs, necessities, important things, valuable things, and we intellectualize those things. When this guy in his bumper sticker was so honest and he simply called them toys, and the one who dies with most toys is the winner. No. No. That's a jail, that's a qafas. When my qalb is attached to those things, the toys of the world, of wealth and so on, and cars and yachts and homes, clothings, and تعلق قلبي بها. When my heart is connected to those, that's a jail. That's a cage, and a bird cannot fly when in a cage. So he said, break from the cage by using your hand of zuhd in that, your hand of abstinence, the power that Allah has granted to all of you, to all of us. Potentially, it is inside of me and you. The kumun of zuhd, at least the potential of abstinence is inside of you and me. He says to us, rahimahullah ta'ala, break that with the hand, the arm of your zuhd in them, your abstinence in them. That's power. Break away from that. And once you break away from that, your nafs, my nafs, I should say, my nafs, the khalq, and the ashya, then you become a heart. Then you become a heart. And that heart is free. Then he says, and then fly with your heart. ثُمَّ طِرْ بِقَلْبِكَ. Allahu Akbar. Then fly freely and glide with your heart. Allah, Allah, Allah. Now you are free. Before that, I am not free. I am a slave, not abd. I beg to distinguish between the two. I am a slave in the temporal cultural usage of the word nowadays. I am not abd. For abd nowadays should be in meaning translated as the free person. Sayyiduna Isa alayhi salam, when he expressed himself and said, Inni abdullah, I am the abd of Allah, which means I am the freest creature in the universe. That's abd. For abd is totally free. From everything created. And God is not created. And He only remains. So fly with your heart until you are able to land حتى تقع على ساحل بحر القرب من ربك عز وجل. And then fly and glide freely until you land at the shores of the sea of nearness to your Lord. Now you're not there yet. You're at the shore of the sea of nearness to your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he continues to say, rahimahullah ta'ala, and I will skip this part, though it is very, very beautiful and powerful, for some other time, and I'll leave that to your meditation. And he says, rahimahullah ta'ala, فَحِينَئِذٍ يَأْتِيكَ مَلَّاحُ السَّابِقَةِ وَمَعَهُ سَفِينَةُ الْعِنَايَةِ فَيَعْبُرُكَ إِلَى رَبِّكَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Allahu Akbar. Then and only then, the skipper, the captain of the boat, the skipper of Sabiqa, of eternal divine destiny, shall come to you with the ship of care, with the ship of inayah, of divine care, and takes you and crosses you to your Lord. My dear sisters and brothers, ignorance is not bliss. We must know whom we seek. God is not reached with ignorance. God is not worshipped with ignorance. God is not loved with ignorance. God says, وَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. God says, know that there is no God but God, but Allah Azza wa Jal. No. He said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءُ. Verily, of those who have greatest awe and reverence in them and fear of and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are those who have ilm, those who have knowledge. The knowledge of His names and attributes, the knowledge of His acts and how they relate to His attributes, the knowledge subhanahu wa ta'ala of what is beautiful by Him and what is not beautiful by Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. The knowledge of what is virtuous and not, moral and not. The knowledge of His objectives, of His aims, of His intent subhanahu wa ta'ala. The knowledge that will enable me to go to the next step. For I said again, God subhanahu wa ta'ala is not loved with jahl, with ignorance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam teaches us, that ilm is a requirement for a Muslim. Knowledge is a requirement for a Muslim. I must have a regular diet of ilm in my daily life. A regular diet of ilm in my daily life, not occasional, not weekly, not once a year, but regularly. And it should be a diet. There is some information that I would call junk food. You know, when you're hungry, you need food to sustain your body. But if you eat junk food, it could give you a sort of satiation, but the consequences are more nefarious and deleterious and harmful than beneficial, isn't it? So feeding my qalb, feeding my soul, nurturing my qalb with ilm, that ilm must be not junk ilm. And please think about that and study more of that and find out examples about junk ilm. and junk information and junk knowledge. It will only make me lose the beauty that Allah Azza wa Jal created in me. Yet I feel a sense of satiation, but it does not contribute to health. It helps deteriorate health. It does not contribute to beauty. It makes us uglier. فأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى, says Allah Azza wa Jal. Part of what we need to know is that Allah Azza wa Jal tells us that in quest of Him there shall be difficulties, and the first difficulty we encounter is me and you, inside of me and you. And thus He says subhanahu wa ta'ala, as to the one who entertains the fear of standing in front of his or her Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala, and thus forbids the nafs inside me, forbids the nafs inside me, the drives inside of me, the talk inside of me, the inclinations inside of me, intellectual, philosophical, ideological, psychological, personal, individual, collective, as long as they are nafsani, I strive against those who do that. وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى, the recompense is الْجَنَّةُ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Paradise is the abode. By the way, some of the ulama, beautiful ulama of the qulub, speak of when we do that, we enter paradise. And there is paradise in this earth, in this world, before the paradise of the hereafter. And when he was asked, what is the paradise in this earth, Jannah in this earth, he says, rahimahullah ta'ala, those who seek this world and the sweetness as they perceive it of this world, they would die and never having ever experienced the ultimate sweetness from this world. He said, what? They said, what is it? He said, لذة الأنس بذكر الله. The delight that one finds inside through solace, through the dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah, have I ever inside of me found a sweetness, a delight that when experienced, I would never exchange anymore with anything of this world. And I would work the rest of my life to recapture 3 seconds that Allah might have given me and I might have experienced. فاقد الشيء لا يعطيه. The one who does not have cannot give. The one who has not experienced does not miss. You don't miss what you don't know. You don't miss what you don't experience. Jannah in this dunya, even for sometimes some fleeting moments that if you lose, you will pursue for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life, putting all the delights of the world aside and traversing all the hardships of the world to recapture a glimpse of those 3 seconds. Moments with Allah Azza wa Jal alone in your qalb. And as though you see Him in beauty and in majesty. Sayyidi Abdul Qadir al-Jilani also said, بينك وبين ربك أنت فارق إياك وقد رأيته. Between you and your Lord is you. Subhanallah. Separate from you and you will see Him. You will see him معنى لا صورة تعالى الله عن الأمثال والأشباه, as he says himself rahimahullah ta'ala somewhere else. You will see him in meaning, in experiential spiritual realities, not in external, temporal, spatial forms. تعالى الله عن ذلك علوا كبيرا. My dear sisters and brothers, Jannah in this dunya and Jannah in akhirah, on account of traversing the hardships of the self. الأفضل الجهاد, says Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, أفضل الجهاد من جاهد نفسه في ذات الله, والحديث صحيح. The most virtuous of struggle of jihad, said he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is the jihad of one who is in jihad against himself or herself in Dhatillah. Allahu Akbar. In Dhatillah. The struggle now of a person desiring to connect with the divine and desiring to stay connected to the divine, by the divine, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fi Dhatillah. This is the most virtuous of jihad, the most beautiful of jihad, said he sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. One of the salihun, it is said, and Sidi Abdul Qadir al-Jilani also relates that. He said it was Al-Imam al-Shaykh Abu Yazid al-Bustami rahimahullah ta'ala, that he saw the divine in a dream. And yes, عند أهل السنة والجماعة, an individual may see the divine in the dream, but that's not that divine in form. That's a manifestation of the divine in the dream. And then when he saw the divine in the dream, look at this person, how he lived daily. And sometimes our dreams tells us about what we are in life. Our dreams sometimes are an expression of what is hidden from us, about us, and certainly what is hidden from others, from others about us. The quality of my dream, the nature of my dream can tell me a lot about what I am, if I am a true seeker. Most of my dreams, of our dreams, sometimes are about dunya, sensuality, or meaningless things. Imagine this. You see a dream, you see the divine, Allahu Akbar. And then in your dream, things are expressed the way you are, sometimes in real terms, sometimes in symbolic terms. And here, this man, in his dream, it can tell us a lot about who he was in qalb. In his dream, he addresses the divine and says, Ya Rabbi, kayfa asilu ilayk. Allahu Akbar. That's his concern. That's the quality of who he is. In his dream, he says, Oh Lord, please tell me, show me how I can come to you. How I can get to you. How I can reach you. How I can arrive at you. And the divine answers him in the dream in symbolic meanings and language. Utruk nafsak wa ta'al. Allahu Akbar. Leave yourself behind and come here. Leave yourself behind and come here. Leave yourself behind and come here. Allahu Akbar. Can I leave myself, my drives, my passions, my whims, my likes, my dislikes, my hopes, my fears, my attachments? Can I leave them behind? If I want infinity, the finite should be valueless. Any value divided by infinity, you know, by simple algebra, is equal to 0. If I want the infinite, Truly, remember we started with أصدق في طلب مولاك. If I want, if I desire, if I seek, if I'm truthful in that, can I not give up the finite to attain the infinite? But because sometimes I am not true in seeking, and I'm not true in asking, and I'm not true yet in wanting, and I do not know what I miss. What I have is too valuable for me to lose because I don't know really the value of what I seek. And if I know the value of what I seek, infinity, and I know the value of what I have, finiteness, how can I not make the choice between infinity and finiteness? اترك نفسك وتعال. Moments of thoughts, of quality time, thinking and pondering and reflecting are sometimes, as one Salih said, rahimahullah ta'ala, are worthier than a year of external ibadah. The ibadah of the qalb. قيل له رحمه الله تعالى ما الفكرة التي هي أفضل من عبادة سنة. قال رحمه الله تعالى نسيان النفس. He was asked, what is a moment of pondering and of reflection that is worthier than external ibadah for 1 year of supererogatory ibadat, walhamdulillah? He said, rahimahullah ta'ala, nisyan al-nafs. The fikra, we spend a moment, sincere moment, concentrated, focused, pure moment in which we forgot. I forgot me. I forgot the I in me and what relates to it. Disengaged from that. A moment like that, quality moment like that, is worthy 365 days of supererogatory external ibadah. Said here, rahimahullah ta'ala. Is it difficult? In general, yes. It is difficult because Allah Azza wa Jal created us in the way He created us. We are not malaika, we are not angels. And if He willed to create us as angels, He would have, and He created angels who do not have nufus. They are only beautiful spirits, complete qulub. But He created us with nufus, a challenge, a field to traverse, by choice to become angelic. To the extent that our ulama have said, a human being with a choice who fights and struggles in jihad against his or her nafs, his or her drives, passions and whims, intellectual, ideological, philosophical, and passionate, who strives against those and rises above those, is even better than an angel with Allah Azza wa Jal. Is it difficult? Yes, but this is what it means. And this is the nature of who we are. We have choices as human beings nowadays, especially nowadays. We are so proud and we even excessively brag about our freedom of choice. But freedom of choice means you are not an angel. You choose between good and evil. And yet you want to be an angel. Angel does not have a choice. By you bragging about freedom of choice, you are saying, I don't want to be an angel. But if you say, I want to be an angel, you have to say, I want to be free from myself. I want to struggle with this choice I have to be free of any choice except what He chooses, what He loves, what He gives, what He withholds. Rabbi, I love you. You give me, I accept. You withhold from me, I accept. لك الحمد يا رب في السراء وفي الضراء. All praise is due to you in prosperity and in adversity. I have hubb for you, not because you give me only. I have hubb for you whether you give me or you don't. I have hubb for you because of who you are, not only because of what you give me. If you withhold from me, you have given me so often, haven't you? You have given me so often. And if you withhold from me, you have still left so much for me. I will always love you. And not love you in the sense of love you in English. I have hubb for you. I have hubb for you. Hubb, not just love. Love can be mercy, can be compassion in the English language. In Arabic, can be rahmah. I have hubb for you. I cannot do without you. I am an abd. An abd does not ask from the master. An abd has hubb. An abd gives. And this master is not human, walhamdulillah, so that I fear my surrender to the master. He's not human. He's not a creature. He's a divine, infinite creator. He doesn't need me. I'm not afraid to surrender wholly to him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to surrender to him. You're not surrendering to a creature. You're not surrendering to a master with a whip. We're not surrendering to a master who needs your labor to make more money. You're surrendering to the infinite, who created everything and who gives you and does not need you. You're surrendering to the Rahman Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. The love, the hubb, the mercy, the compassion, giving, subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not surrendering to one who wants from you and who needs you. Nothing and no one is desired for itself except Allah Azza wa Jal. Let me learn and ask him to help me learn to surrender my qalb to him. Don't think that learning only will do it. Learning is necessary, but not sufficient. Many of us learn, and learning makes us, because of our nufus not dealt with properly, makes us arrogant and deluded and ostentatious and self-conceited. Learning is necessary, but not sufficient. Let me invoke him and ask him to do that for me, subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best thing I ask from him is what he wants from me. And what he wants from me is not for him, it's for me anyways. So if he wants me to be a muwahid, let me ask him, Ya Allah, please make me that muwahid. If he wants me to be a muhib, and he does, let me ask him, Ya Allah, please make me that muhib to you. If he wants me to perform salah in the beautiful way, let me ask him as I struggle, make me one who performs salah to you with his or her qalb. He wants and loves that I worship him in love, in hubb, as though I were to see him. So let me ask him, Ya Allah, ij'alni a'buduka ka'anni arak. Ya Allah, please let me be of worship of you as though I see you. And yes, Ya Allah, help my heart see you. Instead of being like shaitan that follows the hawa, the internal drives and inclinations inside of us that are very difficult indeed to liberate oneself from. One of the salihun said, rahimahullah ta'ala, when a person came to him and said to him, Ya Sayyidi, inna fulanan yamshi ala al-ma'. Ya Sayyidi, we know this man who walks on water. And he mentions the man's name to him. He, that saint, that salih, al-Imam Abu Muhammad al-Murta'ish, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said to him in reply, for me, عندي إن مكنه الله عز وجل إن مكنه الله عز وجل من مخالفة الهوى فهو أعظم من المشي على الماء. He says to him, to me, if Allah Azza wa Jal graces that individual with the ability and the capacity to oppose the hawa, the drives inside of us, the whims inside of us, intellectual, ideological, philosophical, and so on, psychological, and you can add the shahawat, the passionate drives, and so on. For me, if Allah Azza wa Jal graced him with opposing his hawa, this would be greater of a miracle than walking on water. Subhanallah. My dear sister and brother, let us not belittle the effort you make, inshallah, and I hope I do, in opposing the self, in demanding to indulge into that which he does not love, into that which is not consistent with his divine beauty and majesty, through what he taught, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what his Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam taught. Another Salih said, telling us that this is difficult, not easy, but it needs to be done. لَنَحْتُ الْجِبَالِ بِالْأَظَافِرِ أهون للعبد من مخالفة الهوى إذا تمكن من النفس. Verily, sculpting mountains with fingernails is easier for the servant of God, is easier than opposing the hawa inside of us when it is fully entrenched into ourselves, into our nufus. And thus, my dear sisters and brothers, let us not be like shaitan, who despite the divine command explicitly, unequivocally used instead his or her own intellectual capacity, thinking that it can be independent from divine revelation, and said, I am better than he. You created me of fire and you created him of clay, and used the sense of analogy in reasoning in the presence of an explicit, unequivocal, definitive, in origin and in meaning text. أنا خير من خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين هذا قياس منه رجمه الله. In the presence of clear, unequivocal text from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And let us not be like one who holds down and clings to the gravity of earthly things instead of rising above to the heavenly realm. We are human beings made of clay, and that's earthly, and made of water, and that's heavenly. Water is from the sky, as one alim said, and earth is from earth. And most of us as human beings physically are made of water. Most of us, all of us are made mostly of water, indicating in a subtle way that our origin is heavenly. That I should nourish myself with the heavenly, with the wahi, and the wahi comes from the heavens. And the hawa yahwi bisahibihi ila al-ard. While hawa leads the practitioner thereof to earth, and under earth there is fire. And in the heavens there is the divine. Your water nature, even physically, tells you and me that we should be mindful more of our spiritual realities than our earthly requirements. You're mostly water, and water is from heavens. And from heavens comes the wahi, my dear sisters and brothers. May Allah Azza wa Jal help me and you realize who we are. Realize the yokes and the chains and the jails that our nufus impose upon us. And that those nufus, the lenses with which we see the world around me, I see the world around me through what I am. I need not blame the world first. I need to blame me first. Which lens do I have with which to see the world? If the lens is broken or stained or has protrusions and concavities and convexities, I shall not see the world the way it really is. And then I want to change maybe something already beautiful because I don't see it beautiful. Or I want to keep something ugly when I think it is beautiful and I see it is beautiful. May Allah help me change. May Allah help my qalb be liberated and freed. May Allah help me, subhanahu wa ta'ala, acknowledge and see and live my spiritual reality. As my body itself tells me, I am made of heavenly. Can't you see? Most of you is water, and water is from above. Be mindful of the above. Don't be drawn by the gravity of earthly things to this earth. Rise, rise, rise. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arina al-batila batilan warzuqna ijtinabah. Ya Allah, please help us see truth as truth and give us the strength to embrace it. Ya Allah, help us see falsehood as falsehood and give us the strength to refrain from it. Ya Allah, you are the only one who makes the difficult easy. Please make this difficult task easy for us. For we know that for some of your servants it has become easy and delightful. Please let our delight be in you, by you, to you. Ameen. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله